let's discuss another important position, center backs. We saw Aaron Long and Walker Zimmerman start both of the games over this international window. Taylor, what are we doing in the center of the American defense?
I think the issue with the center back partnership actually has a lot to do with, and I know Herc's going to talk about this as well, the system. I don't think the strengths and weaknesses of the two center backs that we saw against Japan and Saudi Arabia are suited for playing out of the back, are suited of playing under pressure. Are they athletic? Are they good in the air? Can they defend? Absolutely. But how many silly, sloppy giveaways did we see from Aaron Long and Walker Zimmerman? And I would throw Weston McKennie in there as well, in particular in the Japan game, where there's very little pressure in decision-making there and options, and the ball's just coughed up. And so, again, I go back to my original statement. If I'm Wales, if I'm England, and if I'm Iran, and I watch that Japan game, I'm immediately allowing the goalkeeper to roll it out to Zimmerman, to roll it out to Aaron Long, and then I am going to hound them. I'm going to get after them like a pack of wolves and turn them over and get going the other way. Because the other part is you're not having to worry about the direct ball going forward because the United States doesn't want to play that, and their number 9's coming in. The two center backs right now, I think, would be better suited in a more simplified idea and system of play. In that way, it plays into the strengths of who they are and not ultimately what their weaknesses are. And I think the Miles Robinson injury is massive because what we've seen from Gregg Berhalter is he doesn't want to call in John Brooks. And the moment Chris Richards went down, Cameron Carter-Vickers went down, Tim Ream doesn't get a call. That tells you right now where Tim Ream is on the pecking order, and he's playing every single minute and every single week in the best league in the world. And so I just think if you're going to tell me it's Zimmerman and Long, I think I would change the philosophy because it doesn't suit either center back.
Yeah, I won't talk about the partnership of Zimmerman and Long because you've stressed that enough right there, and I'm with you there. I will say Chris Richards and Walker Zimmerman give you the best combination of physicality and technical ability that complement each other.
Yes.
And maybe you can get away with playing out of the back because you have Chris Richards to an extent. And I think people get the wrong idea with Walker Zimmerman. Walker Zimmerman actually can be very beneficial playing out of the back if you play to his ability of switching the ball. He's got a penchant for playing that long ball and really putting it on your foot.
Yes.
Against Morocco, he put Christian Pulisic on a dime. A few times where he found Weston McKennie. Weston McKennie bad touches, led him backwards instead of forwards into goal. He has that penchant for that switch. It could be a good combination of strength, physicality, and technical ability with that athleticism that protects you in from behind.
I feel like everybody's kind of holding their breath for Chris Richards, right? Everybody wants to see him get healthy and maybe take that spot that right now we've seen Aaron Long next to Walker Zimmerman. We know how Herc feels about John Brooks. Every episode here on Futbol Americas, we get Herc talking about John Brooks, how much he misses him on the national team. I'll throw Tim Ream into that discussion as well. Those are two guys with obviously huge resumes. Taylor, when we talk about the center backs, do you think one of or either of those guys, both of those guys should be in the conversation? I think specifically Brooks, right? Brooks is a guy that we've talked about for a long time on this show.
It's an interesting discussion because naturally you look at it and say John Brooks is playing where he is. He's playing against quality competition week in and week out. So how do you leave a guy out like that? Now, differently than P-Folk is this. All three of us have seen a lot of John Brooks with the U.S. men's national team. We know who he is. We know his last appearance against Honduras was one of the worst appearances of his professional career. And so I can buy into that. I also can buy in, if you want to sell me, Tim Ream's national team career has been underwhelming at best. But here's the argument for both Brooks and Ream. Nobody ahead of them right now is dominating. Nobody ahead of them in the pecking order is playing on a regular basis at the highest of levels and, most importantly, understanding what the job is. And so that's why I look at it and say the Mark McKenzies of the world, the Eric Palmer Browns of the world. Okay, they're playing. Yeah, I get it. But are they playing anywhere any much better than John Brooks or Tim. Like, the Tim Ream thing for me is very difficult to understand. Herc knows this. At the World Cup, you need players that are versatile. Anthony Robinson's out with an injury. He starts left back for Fulham in the Premier League, guys. So I just look at it and say, if you give me 4 center backs that are playing, I have no problem leaving Brooks and Ream at home based on where their national team careers have been. But guys, you know as well as I do, no one's dominating the center back position other than, I would say, Walker Zimmerman has put his footprint in saying, all right, I'm the leader, I'm going to go. Everyone else is in the same boat.
Yeah, but Gregg Berhalter has told us he wants to play with the high line. I don't see him playing the high line at the World Cup. I actually see the U.S. men's national team being pinned in a lot. What I will stress is your most experienced player, not just defender, most experienced player on the national team is going to be DeAndre Yedlin. It's going to be his second World Cup. At some point, you're going to need experience because experience brings that calm. And we heard Gregg Berhalter after the game say maybe the guys are worried or maybe they're stressed about not making the team. If they are nervous right now in an empty stadium on neutral ground versus Japan and Saudi Arabia, what's it going to be like versus England when it's packed, versus Wales when it's packed, versus Iran when you have geopolitical pressure on you?
Sure. To your point about experience, Chris Richards doesn't have much.
I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more.
Caps, but yeah.